YLE Robotics Show here on yourliveevent.com. We are here with Ryan Lindsay and Natasha Olsonowski. They are members of the NMRC board. And we have the first robotics world championship coming up here. I believe it starts on Wednesday, runs through Saturday. And before we kind of hop into things, you just kind of want to maybe explain to our listeners what the world championships are. Maybe kind of explain who's all, or not everyone who's going, but just kind of explain how massive an event this is for robotics around the world.
So it is a worldwide event. So there's regionals that you've been hearing about around the state and around the country, and there's some international regionals. And there's about 600-ish teams from around the planet that go and compete in Houston, Texas. So there are lots of robotics kids, and it's intense. It's a huge convention hall, and there's many languages, and it's just a great experience.
And it's not just the high school, the first teams, it's not the FRC teams, it's also the FLL, so the first LEGO League teams, and the FTC teams, the first Tech Challenge. So you have elementary all the way up to high school teams.
Awesome. And I know with the NMRC, I know they have 5 teams going this year. And I guess you just kind of want to highlight those for our listeners and people watching at home.
Yeah, so 876, they're kind of regulars. They're going, and then they're out of North Dakota, and then 2883 and 3134. I think it's their first time heading down, and 7046, and then 8188. So there are 5 teams representing down at Worlds, and we're super excited to go cheer them on.
Awesome. And I know both of you guys have been down to Worlds. I think Ryan, you went with the Iron Mosquitoes, I believe, one time. And I know Natasha, I think they mentioned that you went down with a large group of coaches from the region. And I guess what was your just overall thoughts of the World Championships? So what stood out to you most about them? And I guess what were some high points of your guys' trips down there?
I took a team both in 2017 and 2019. So our team went both years. We've gone to different venues for both of those. So when we went to St. Louis in 2017 and really enjoyed the venue there. Then 2 years later, we went to Detroit in 2019. And now, of course, I haven't taken a team to Houston, but I went with some other coaches. So out of all those, I do like the Houston event. It's a great venue. The weather's almost always beautiful down there. And there's so many teams in one place, but there's lots of things to do at night as well. Like kids can go out to block parties and have a great time. You often get together and meet up with those teams. There's all these different food trucks to eat at. Overall, any one of those venues was great. It's just that Houston is so far away sometimes. So like when we took teams to St. Louis and to Detroit, the drive was easy, but I haven't taken a team to Houston. So Ryan, what was that like?
It was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of fundraising. So it's nice. The first time the community stepped up and supported, you got to basically fly all the kids down there. So 30 plane tickets that adds up pretty quick. But yeah, it was awesome. We got to tour the Chevron building, which is the old, it's where the financial crisis, what was the old company that did all the trading that was bad or something? It's that building where it all went down, and I can't remember what the name of that energy company was. But anyway, yeah, so we went top floor Chevron company and got to drive their robot dog. They're training to like listen for vibrations of machines and things they need to replace on oil rigs and stuff. And it was a lot, and just hear about global operations, which is something we don't get up in our neck of the woods. So that was a lot of fun. There's a lot to do. Went to Nassau, there's nice weather, there's fabulous museums. Like the first team we saw, we were going to a museum when we got there, and then there was a team that they were one number after us. So we're 5653 and they were 5654, and they were out of Israel. So we're like, hey, we're almost the same number. And it's just goofy stuff like that. There's a team from Turkey, and one of our students, she's a rookie this year, but like we kind of recruited her because we got a welcome message from the girls from Turkey, said, hello, and a bunch of things about you should sign up for the team in their language. And then we played a video in school and like took her about 3 times before she was like, wait, I understand. It was awesome. So yeah, it's just neat to connect with the whole world.
Awesome. And how I know there's a couple of different ways to qualify for Worlds. So how does a team, I guess, qualify for Worlds? Because I know there's the like when you're in, but there's also like you can get in through like different awards and different stuff like that as well, I believe, correct?
Yeah, Ryan's team, you got in on an impact award, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yep. So the Impact Award is an award that your team applies for. It requires them to do a lot of dedicated writing, lots of community outreach and engagement. They're looking for you to help other teams as well. And then you put forward a presentation in front of these judges. And so at each regional, there's one team that gets a trip down for Impact Award. So that doesn't really have a lot necessarily to do with your robot, although it usually does because you're using your robot to interact with the public and the community and reach out and kind of put forward the whole first mission. There's another one, is it the excellence in engineering or it's the engineering inspiration? That's another one that's a little bit similar to impact, where again, it's about how are you outreaching? How are you bringing forth and promoting engineering in your school or in your community? That's how the Red River Rage team is going down. They are going down on that one. The girls team is the Impact Award. Fred, who's also going from our region, they are going down from an Impact Award, and they actually went, I think, a couple of years ago on their Impact Award too. They're pretty good at that. But then 876 and 8818 are both going down. 876 won the Grand Forks Regional, the Great Northern, so that's how they're getting down there. And then 8818 was second at this last regional at Granite City, and the teams that got first already had Worlds bids, so the second place teams got to go on wild cards. So they didn't officially win, but they were pretty darn good.
Awesome. And just taking a look at this season so far, I know the season's not quite over yet as we do have Worlds coming up and then the state tournament for the Minnesota State, but I know pretty much teams are kind of starting to wrap up their years here now with different events and stuff ending. So I guess just overall, how did you guys feel this year went? I guess on an NMRC competition level, how'd you guys think both as an advisors or coaches for your individual squads, and then just as members of the NMRC board as a whole? How do you guys feel it went this year?
I think it went well. I think the kit bot, like kind of some plans, like ready to go stuff was good. Just to see like there's just some robot, like everyone was kind of scoring points and doing things, or like at times, right? I mean, there's always mechanical problems and stuff, but it was kind of fun to see that stuff happening in the game this year. NMRC usually has some teams that do pretty well. So I don't know if this year is so much better than others, but it's exciting to see some of the teams that like get their first bid to Worlds. So like, I mean, they've been like 31-4 is 31-34. They basically started the NMRC and they've been working for years, and like it's really well deserved. And it's a great opportunity.
I think it's been a real learning experience for a lot of teams this year. The number of teams that are using Swerve Drive has, tripled, quadrupled. And I think that made a lot of teams reach out to other teams to get a hold of a lot of that code for that. Because there were so many teams using Swerve Drive, the field was so fast this year, so fast. I think way faster than in years past. And then the damage that teams would incur was pretty hefty. So if you didn't have a solid robot, you were broke after 2, 3, maybe 4 matches, and then you were busy fixing. And I know for us, like we felt we were really solid, and we managed to make it through our 2 regionals. But now today we were testing our robot and nothing's working. Like this is falling off and that's falling off, and we need to be prepared for state. So we have 4 weeks now to get ready for state, and we've already been kind of reaching out to a couple other teams, talking and planning a little bit of strategy with them. So still a lot on our plate. We're still really busy.
It's a good point about the damage, because we our first practice day at week 1, I've never seen it before, but moved a 1x8 or not 1x8, like our 1x2, like aluminum got bent in, and then the plywood actually broke on the bumper, and we had to totally rebuild the bumpers. For the next regional, we rebuilt them out of hardwood, and they stayed together, and then reinforced with like a thicker perimeter, and added like 1x material all the way around. It was there was a lot of damage this year.
Awesome. And I guess just maybe for our listeners who aren't too familiar with the NMRC, you kind of want to just highlight exactly what the NMRC is, maybe the region that it serves, and how big is the NMRC in terms of like membership? I don't know if you guys have the exact number on the top of your head, but yeah, you just kind of want to explain to our listeners what the NMRC is, maybe.
So it's called the Northern Minnesota Robotics Conference, but we are more than just Northern Minnesota. We start our further south team, I think, is like Alexandria, Uppsala. But, technically, if you're within the cities, you're the cities and everybody else is just north. So we take everybody that's kind of north of the cities and then all the way out to the Iron Range where Ryan's team is at. I think we're about at 30 teams right now. We're a collective group that tries to work together to help each other out. It's so great when you're at events because you just say, oh, where are my other NMRC teams? I can go to them and ask for help with tools, programming help. We try and put together some awards for our kids. We've created a conference championship, which no other robotics conference is out there in the state of Minnesota. So in the fall, our teams will compete for a real conference championship, just like basketball teams do and hockey teams do. Gives our kids a great opportunity to network with those other teams as well. So overall, before it started, I feel like I was a little island all by myself, and it's kind of like a whole country right now of teams. And so it's been a great help and a great resource for us.
Awesome. And Ryan, I know, or when they were talking about the conference champ, I believe you guys were the ones that hosted it this past year over in Babbitt. And I guess just overall, how did it feel to be able to host, I guess, that conference championship even in a small town like Babbitt?
You tell people you do robotics, and even though you explain it, people don't, like, they know BattleBots and they know Legos, and when they see, these 150-pound robots flying around and vision capabilities and just all the mechanics and just the team outreach, like it really, when you see it, you kind of get it at just a deeper level. And we had our county commissioner was there, the mayor was there, just like he was giving tours in the fallout shelter afterwards. I mean, it was like this whole like, oh my gosh, there were parents that have never been to an event. Their kids been in it 4 years, and they were like in the stands for like 2 days, just like almost, they're just like, this is the coolest thing ever. And now they understand why their kids don't see them for 3 months. So like it really made, in our small community, like it really made a difference. Like we had sponsors come in, we had another one that's like, we got to sponsor you guys and all these teams. Like this is our workforce of the future. Like we're so impressed. And it just feels good for people to understand what you do, and it kind of builds up your support. And like for our town, that's the most people that's been in our gym for 20 years. So, that was a blast.
Yeah. And I know the two events that I kind of covered this year was the conference championship up there and the Great Northern Regional in Grand Forks at the YLE Center. And I have to say, I don't think you could have chosen two locations that are complete opposites of each other. With the YLE Center, it's all spaced out. And then in Babbitt, it was like nice, tight and compact. It was completely two different, environments.
Well, and that's what the support of the NMRC that allows us to bring it into all these communities. Because I would never say I'd want to host an event, but with the NMRC backing you, they're like, oh no, we'll help you find the volunteers. We'll help you get the funding together. We'll help you reach out and find sponsors or whatever. Like, so they're helping encourage you. Because if somebody would have asked me years ago, would you host? I think we hosted, the championship a few years back. Anyways, whatever we did, but I was like, no, there's no way I would ever do this. But now you have Matt and Jesse, and they're like, no, you can do this. We've done it. And if Babbitt can do it, anybody can do it. Right, Ryan?
That's totally true. And it's fun. Like, that says a lot about like what the whole NMRC is about too, is, I am the shop and computer science and physics department at our school, right? Like I do a lot of things not really well. And like, you're just at capacity, and there's several other coaches that are, I've got a few other coaches now, but you're small. Like you don't have a team at 15, 20 adults that are available to help. And then just you just build your resource base as a community. And it just adds a lot to have peers that can help and offer advice. And it just makes a difference.
Awesome. And then just kind of talking as robotics as a whole, I'd like to get the kind of a coach's perspective on this, and just overall, why do you think robotics is something that's important to offer to students, and like what are some benefits to it or to robotics that you have seen throughout your years of coaching robotics at the high school level?
I don't know. There's the benefits are too many to count. I like the fact that when I get some of the kids, I'm not a builder. I don't build robots. I know very little programming, enough to have some fun once in a while, but I like to connect with those students who aren't doing those things. So I get kids to have skills with, developing a budget, because I have a business education background. We work on social media and how do we reach out that way. We talk about, how do you stay in touch and connect with your sponsors. So it's a huge, avenue for communication with these kids who don't necessarily talk to adults a lot, right? As a teen, how much were you talking with adults? Not a ton. And they are going up to perfect strangers and saying, hey, this is how awesome our team is. Hey, will you give us some money? Or, this is the thing that my team is doing. And they put together a great video highlighting all the things we did in the season. And so the skills that I work with, or the skill set, isn't necessarily building the robot. And a lot of people don't realize that. They're like, oh my gosh, like my daughter should join because she likes to do graphic design, or she wants to be a radio show announcer. Yeah, she could come here, because we have kids that have been in the program, and then they go and they announce all the robot matches. So it's a great avenue with so many things that, like, when you ask somebody who doesn't robots apply to, that really is nobody, because you can find your little niche where you're at.
Feels like you're running a little small business, and like there's so many ways that there's so many ways you can go with it. Like you're saying, all sorts of people, and then the kids really, like, they own it, right? It's not, I can't do all this stuff. So the kids really own it. And then to see them talk about it, they've got passion, they've got ideas, like they're so motivated. And as a teacher, I'd love to think everyone's that excited about my assignments, but they're not, right? Like, because they just have to do it. But this is like, it's a passion project, and like managing a passion project and being a part of a team and working through all the stuff is, it's so applicable to real life. And they interact with people from all over the place. It just builds good people. It just, like, you can see them grow up.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer. So I guess just a final question for you guys here today was there anything else that you wanted to share, anyone to shout out about either robotics, the NMRC, your individual teams as a whole? Was there anything else that you guys wanted to share with our listeners before we get going here today?
Well, I would say if you ever have the opportunity to go down to Worlds, especially if you don't have a team, it's a great avenue to see some very impressive robots. And it's nice to go there because you come back kind of just like with all these ideas behind you that you're like, and you show this to your student, like, hey, I saw this great pit down there. Or, hey, kids, I saw this awesome robot. And then we go find up and search that up. And so for me, it's just to see how impressive some of these teams are, because we were good, we were fine. But then you go see some of these ones down at Worlds and we're like, oh my gosh, we were terrible compared to them.
Please pick me later.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of exhibitors there too. Like one I remember is they had this robot and they'd take like a pig heart structure and then they would inject stem cells, and like they were showing the tools they had to do this, and kids are handling this heart and they've got it working in an animal model and figuring it out, and like it's a plan for the future to be used on humans. But that is, and they're there like saying, hey, like we've got jobs for kids like you. And, like for the kids to see like, wow, like my skill set. You see that other places too, but just there's for kids to see like, hey, there's companies that want the skill set, and like, I understand a little bit what they're doing. And then they're competing with people from all over the planet, some of the best and the brightest, and they're there and they're competing and they can score points against them. And like, I can do things, right? I've got skills and I push myself in it. It's just neat to see all the possibilities that are opened up. It's a good experience for kids and anybody.
Well, awesome. I appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day here today. And like I said, good luck with any robotic stuff you guys have coming up, including the rest of the season and into next year.
Thank you.
Good luck all the NMRC teams.
And that was Ryan Lindsay and Natasha Olsanowski from the NMRC. And you are listening to the Your Live Event Robotics Show here on yourliveevent.com.
Engineering, architecture, land surveying, environmental services. We have the experience to tackle all manner of projects. Widseth is known as a firm that is solid, agile, and versatile. And that's the kind of reliability you can expect when you engage us on your project.
They are invested in our community. They are invested with our people. They're going to create a product that's going to exceed our expectations every single time. That is why we go with Widseth.
At Enbridge, we believe sustainability is the foundation of our success. How well we perform as a steward of our environment, a safe operator of essential energy infrastructure, a good neighbor, and a diverse employer defines our success. Learn more about Enbridge's environmental, social, and governance commitments and our Indigenous Reconciliation Plan at enbridge.com.
A foundation forged in their grandfather's shop. Matt and Mike Martins know firsthand the value of quality machinery. At Martins Welding and Machine, they rely on 3 generations of knowledge and expertise in creating quality products for farmers, ranchers, residents, and businesses across North Dakota and beyond. To browse their full selection of bin caps, bale feeders, rock lifts, disc attachments, and more, visit martinswelding.com. Also ask about their garage doors. Martins Welding and Machine. Matt and Mike will make it right.
This is Chris from RDK Enterprises, your local precision planting dealer. Manage what you can to overcome what you cannot. Farming is all about preparing your operation to be successful when given an opportunity. Invest a few minutes and bring in your seed meters to be reconditioned and calibrated. We have some room, so give us a call and we can help you overcome those simple obstacles. RDK Enterprises, 636-2119 or planterdoc.com.
Gordon Construction of Mahnomen is a Native American-owned business proudly operating on the White Earth Indian Reservation since 1983. As a bonded general contractor, Gordon Construction provides years of experience in large, detailed, and within-budget projects. Gordon Construction is committed to the safety of its employees and the environment of its work sites. To learn more about Gordon Construction of Mahnomen, visit gcmahnomen.com or call 218-935-2191.
Welcome back to the Your Live Event Robotics Show. I'm actually here with Sandy from 7235 Red Lake Ogeechee Dog. First and foremost, how you doing today?
We're doing great. Thanks for asking. Beautiful. I'm in Duluth today, and it's just beautiful outside.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a rare kind of winter spring where you actually have a spring in Minnesota, it seems like. But
it's beautiful, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let's actually kind of go back to Grand Forks, which was for like a month ago. That was the last time we saw you guys. How was Grand Forks for you guys?
As a team, we had growth in all areas. Our robot did more than it's ever done before, and we won more matches than we've ever done before. We ranked higher than we ever have before, and I couldn't ask for more from my kids. We had a great competition.
No, absolutely. And again,
being able to talk with the students and everything else at Grand Forks, it was really kind of cool to see just 1 year of like the growth and the like they seemed like they were really coming out of their shells and they were like really getting confident. So,
The majority of my students this was their first real competition. I had taken them to the NMRC last October. That had kind of been their initiation, that they saw what really a robotics competition was, but that wasn't their robot. So they weren't as invested. And this robot they helped build. So they felt a lot of ownership for this robot and this competition. And they wanted the robot to do well, and our drive team wanted to do well, and everybody was working together. And I was really proud of my team. They showed many soft skills. They had to go out and talk to other people and strategize. And sometimes my students are a little shyer, and they really came forward and took the initiative to go and do some strategy, which helped us out, because then we could do our part when we were in an alliance, and we were able to help them out.
And again, I've been saying this almost every single week now, where the physical game is such a small portion of like what makes the robotics competition like so special. You brought up like soft skills, and holy cow, soft skills are so important just overall. So yes, no, being able to gain those little soft skills and bringing that and throwing that into their toolbox to.
Oh yes,
Yep.
we all had to be to some place at the same time, which meant you had to plan your personal schedule, and you're rooming with other people. This was, you're in a hotel room when you have to stay with other people, and you have to get everybody together and downstairs to leave, because the competition doesn't wait for us to finish curling our hair. So, well, we did. No, that didn't happen, but yeah.
No, but that's fantastic. So now you're again, Grand Forks was about a month ago. A few weeks ago, you guys went down to Las Vegas to do another event. But real quick, between Grand Forks and the Las Vegas event, was there any big changes, anything like that? Or was it pretty much like, hey, we got a functioning robot, let's just keep on making sure we're doing good?
For the most part, our robot was working. We did some minor things. I had to fix something on the bumpers, and we put a drive station together. We had been just carrying around our laptop and our controllers, and we actually built just a wooden drive station to put our equipment on, which was really helpful because then it's all in one place. And just some extra things that were really helpful to us to make our second competition go more smoothly. And we had a little to-do list on our thing. We were still struggling with our climber a little bit, and we worked on that. And so
now, talking about that second competition, Las Vegas, first and foremost, we were talking about how nice the weather is here. How nice was the weather in Vegas?
The weather was beautiful in Vegas. So the Red Lake Ogeechee Dogs and the Iron Mosquitoes from up in Babbitt, we got to travel together. We went, and our robots went in a trailer, and we had a couple of gentlemen help us drive them down to Vegas. So the teams were able to fly. The Babbitt flew out of Minneapolis, but Red Lake, we flew out of Fargo. And right during that little ice storm we had just before Easter, that Tuesday when the roads were just nasty, we took the vans to Las Vegas, and we made it to Fargo just in time to get on our flight. And then we got to Denver, and we got just in time for that flight. And then we got to Vegas, which was, we were going, oh, this is just beautiful here. And we're outside with our jackets on. And so that was on a Tuesday. And then that Wednesday, we did a sightseeing day. So we took the kids out and walked along the strip, and most of them most of my students had never flown before. So flying was a first experience for them. And then taking them and walking along the strip, we did people watching, and we went to the M&M store and the Coca-Cola store. I bought them Coca-Cola out of the original glass bottles, and we sat on the sidewalk and had a refreshing treat. And so that was something different. And we did a lot of walking, and we did a lot of we went on the high roller, which is the Ferris wheel that's up on the in Vegas, the big Ferris wheel that you can see forever out there on the countryside. And we got back we did our sightseeing, but we got back in time to go play at the pool, because going to the pool is a pretty big deal. And we knew in the future competition days, the pool would already be closed by the time we got back after going to competition. So we had to make sure we got some swim time in. And then that evening we went and did the BattleBots show. Las Vegas had, the TV show BattleBots.
Yeah, right.
They have, they do fire and saws and stuff. We don't do that with our robots, but it was really exciting to watch that show, and the kids were real excited about it and hyped up. And so that was a nice evening entertainment that we got to do. So that was just part. And then we had to get started working with the robots. So then the rest was routine, because when the Las Vegas competition, it was different because it was in Las Vegas, but it was also the same because it was a first robotics competition. So we knew what to do for a first robotics competition. We knew we had to get our robot inspected. We knew we could do practice matches. We knew how to line up. It was just a different place to line up. And there were wonderful volunteers all along the way. The people in Vegas were very gracious and welcoming, and the people at the competition were always taking care of us and checking in with us, and it was very, we felt we were treated very well.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Now, I always ask this whenever somebody's going out of state or what have you. You guys went to Vegas. What'd you guys have to eat? Anything good?
We had burgers. We did Chick-fil-A. We don't have a Chick-fil-A up at Red Lake, so we did Chick-fil-A. We had pizza one night. And one night we did DoorDash. That was because we don't have DoorDash up at Red Lake, so we were able to order from Raising Cane and Jack in the Box, and it came right to the hotel. So that was fun. And then the kids did go to a place called Hello Kitty, which is like, the Hello Kitty merchandise.
Right.
There's a little bakery or cupcake shop they took a quick Uber ride and went up there and got cupcakes and Hello Kitty merchandise, and they loved it. And so that was one of their last activities before we left. And so we did have fun, and we did work hard with our robot. And so
that's huge, being able to, especially like you said, like some of them, that was their first time on a plane, let alone probably first time some of them were out of state. Going to Vegas and for your first time out of state, that's a story and a half right there. Yes. But the event itself, how'd you guys do? How'd you guys finish?
Well, we've always gone to robotics competitions, and our robot is never the top of the line, but the robot we always have lots of help getting it to run. And we didn't finish almost last, but we were able to run 9 out of the 10 matches we were in. So we felt that we were pretty perseverance. We really we got back out there and fixed things, and we had lots of people coming to help us. And our drive team was working on doing the plan that the different teams had us to do. So sometimes we do defense, and our app, getting the notes in the app was one of our strong suits. We could do that. We were pretty consistent on that. We still struggled with climbing. We had trouble. Our chain or our mechanism would break, or we wouldn't get something in right, or it would. Anyway, there was always a little calamities of errors, that we got to work on our systems to make sure that we're at like a checklist to make sure that everything is in order before we get out on the field. And some of it was minor, but we did okay.
Oh, and again, like
and
you
we
said,
had fun. And we had fun.
That's a huge part, but everything else we've talked about, yes, the game is a thing, but everything else, what the students are actually taking with them throughout this, that's the big thing for sure. That is the big thing. Now, so you like we said before, Grand Forks, Vegas, what is next for you guys, or is that kind of putting a bow on the season for you?
We're done with competition season until we go to we'll probably go to the NMRC in October. We'll get to play with this robot one more time. We were talking about doing a little summer building, maybe getting a robot that we can just play around with and get kids still in the hand of building and not having the pressure of the build season on, and getting, just building something that we can take to drive around at parades. Or this summer we're planning to go to our local powwows and do some community relations. We're gonna go up to Red Lake and Panema, and we'll be in their parades and their powwow, and we'll do a little concession stand, and then we'll do a STEM activity for the kids so that they get some exposure to something science related. And we'll bring a robot and let them drive, and they love it when we put our little, take it out and let them drive, and we drive it around and show them what we can build. We can say, my kids can say, I helped build that. And that's a source of pride for them. And
absolutely. Now, with the outreach and everything else, especially going and letting the community just kind of get their hands on the robot, maybe even for the first time being like, oh, okay, I didn't know this was a thing. How big are those outreach like parts of your seasons?
We really try to do something monthly. We're out there. It'll like the powwow will be in July, and then there'll be something in September for Labor Day, and we'll try to go to the Boys and Girls Club in that time in between and do some kind of activity with the kids too, with any elementary or middle school kids we can find, and just to keep their brains busy. And they love us when we come up there and the big kids show them something fun or new to do. And so anything we can get our imaginations on, we love sharing anything, because they love it too.
Absolutely. Now, kind of going back, and I know it's something we talked about the first time we had a Zoom conversation and everything else, right after, that week 0, or like the announcing of the game and everything. I mean, you guys have to have like in your head, like, hey, these are the goals for this year and everything else like that. A, what were those goals? And B, do you feel like the team actually reached those goals?
Our up at Red Lake, we don't have the other coach and I are not extremely good designers or engineers. we can follow directions pretty well. So we chose again to build the EveryBot, which is a robot that a team in Texas, they see the kickoff criteria and they go and build a robot in 3 days to meet those specs, and then make the bill of materials and some instructions available to regular beginning or less resourced teams to be able to build a robot that can play the game. So the EveryBot this year was based on first KitBot. So we had the KitBot started, and then we added on the stuff that the EveryBot added. So the KitBot was able to have a shooter to go to the speaker. That was their main mechanism to play the game. So then the EveryBot added a claw to hold a note to be able to drop it in the amp, and a climber to be able to get on the chain at the end game. So we added those features to our robot, and we worked on the programming, and we actually this past year we got our robot built soon enough that we got to have practice time before our first event in Grand Forks. That was a first for us. Normally we're building up till competition on day 2 of the Grand Forks. We're still putting things together, and our drive team hadn't had any time to practice. So we felt we had done farther and better this past year than we ever have before. That was another source of growth for us. So like next year when we get ready when I plan our season, I have to make sure I plan practice time in, because I feel that we'll get our robot done soon enough again. And I was kind of scrambling to make sure I could find some practice area for the kids to go in. Bemidji and Cass Lake were gracious, where Bemidji let us come down and use their practice elements, and Cass Lake had offered, but didn't work out with us. And then Nevis had the practice field down on a weekend after week 0. So we were able to go to Nevis and get some practice time in. And so those were all things that I hadn't planned for this year that I know I have to, because my team is able to get practice time, get done soon enough so we can have practice for our drivers, which makes us more competitive when it comes to competition.
Right. No, 100%. Now, before I let you go, just wondering how many of your students, how many are leaving? How many were seniors? Or are you retaining everybody for next year?
Well, I took 8 students to Vegas, and I have about 12 or 13 that are on the team that for various reasons didn't go with us to Vegas. I have 2 seniors that are going to graduate, and they're going to leave a hole, but thank goodness they were helping train people that can do their positions, and helping to make sure that we don't have too big of a debt. And I'm hoping that they'll come back as mentors, and we don't lose all their knowledge and skills. And we're going to keep growing. We got some freshmen that are coming up that we're going to hope to get in our team and get in those valued positions that I need. So so we're sitting pretty good if I can keep everybody coming back next year.
That's fantastic. And like you said, doing the outreach and everything else, I mean, people are just getting more and more like, hey, this is something interesting and all that stuff. So that is fantastic. That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, Sandy, seriously, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and talk to me. It sounds like you guys had a blast throughout the entire season, especially in Vegas. That's a really cool, that's a cool place to go and do an event.
This team has been a really, I say, you want to go here? I got this plan. You want to go? They say, yep, we're going. And they get in the van with me and they go, and we have a good time, and they learn every time we do things. And this has been a very positive group, and I want to keep them going.
Perfect. That's perfect. Well, again, Sandy, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Any last thoughts, anything like that before we sign off?
No, well, thank you for thinking of us, and I need to get on the see all the other cool podcasts because I know everybody's been doing such great things, and we're getting ready to some of the coaches are going to go down to Houston next week and watch Worlds. So I'm looking forward to that and doing some PD and getting some more ideas for things I can bring back for my kids to try and do, and so we can keep getting better and growing.
So are you also going down to Houston?
I am. I am. I'm not taking any students
Right.
with me, but I'm going to go down and get some more knowledge and ideas and take lots of pictures and say, look, I saw this, and what do you think about this? And should we try this? And see which ones they like and don't like. So we'll see what happens.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Well, with that being said, hope you have a fantastic trip going down to Houston. Hopefully it's fantastic weather down there.
Yeah.
But for everybody else, thanks for joining us. We'll be right back.